I'm back in my favourite place, lying on the grass in my back garden, and it's a beautiful spring morning, so it's the 2nd of March today, and I thought I'd just have a quick look at some of the flowers that are already coming out. Now this one here is one of my favourites, and it's one of the first native flowers that you'll see in the spring, and this is lesser celandine. So it's got these lovely glossy heart-shaped leaves which tend to appear in the winter, and they quite often form quite a big mat, a big carpet. And now sort of around early March the flowers will be starting to come out, and they're beautiful, lovely yellow star-shaped flowers here, and they tend to close up when the sun goes down. They're obviously open in the day when the sun's shining, and they are fantastic for some of our early pollinators. So things like bumblebees, for example, will be really keen on these. There's a nice little ladybird just awakening here in front of me as well. Lovely. Right, so there's another lovely native plant in flower at the moment. So we looked at the lesser celandine just now, which is a member of the buttercup family, but here we're looking at the primrose, sometimes called prima rosa. So this comes from the Latin, primula vulgaris is the Latin name for it. Obviously prima rosa meaning first rose, but it isn't actually a rose. So it's a beautiful yellow flower with 5 notched petals, and it has these very sort of crinkly soft leaves that are quite hairy underneath. And again, the other important thing about this particular plant, like the lesser celandine, is that it's really good for early pollinators, particularly for butterflies. So I did watch a brimstone feeding on this over the weekend, so really good for those butterflies that are just waking from their hibernation, so things like red admirals, small tortoiseshell, peacock and brimstone. Really important for those. And the lesser celandine that we just saw just now is really important for bumblebees, so nice to have these flowers in the garden. The other interesting thing is that they are both yellow, and it's quite interesting that I think you find a lot of our native plants early in the year tend to be yellow, and as you move through the season you'll notice more purple flowering native plants, and I believe this is to do with the light levels and how the insects actually see these flowers. So it's obviously easier at this time of year when the sun is lower in the sky to see yellow, but later in the year it must be easier for those insects to find the nectar and pollen on the purple flowers. Also, we'll find that this time of year a lot of the native plants are very low to the ground, like the primrose and the lesser celandine, but later in the year, as the grasses and the other species start to grow quite tall, you'll find that a lot of the flowering plants are also quite tall, like the knapweeds and scabious, for example. And that's because they need to be quite tall to compete with those grasses and those other species. Otherwise they would just be swamped in our meadows. So some lovely spring flowers with nice birdsong in the background, hopefully.